What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily. So when I reviewed the Dreame X50Ultra robot vacuum last year, I really thought it couldn't get any better than that. But then, all of a sudden, Dreame comes out with this, their new X50Ultra, and somehow this robot vacuum and mop combo improves on so many more things, with a bunch of new features and capabilities too, and I am once again truly impressed. Now, Dreame was kind enough to send me this new X50Ultra early, so I could test it out for a week or so, and also sponsored this video. And I think my biggest takeaway in using the X50Ultra is that while a lot of robot vacuum companies are trying to add gimmicks and unnecessary extras just to pad their list of features, Dreame is all about improving the essentials. For example, this new X50Ultra has a retractable LiDAR sensor, so it can fit under more of your household items and furniture. Funny enough, it can also go over more things too now. The X50Ultra has what Dreame calls their new Pro Leap system, which is an extra set of wheels on stilts, sort of retractable legs basically, that flip down and propel the vacuum over bumps, steps, transitions, and parts of furniture. Its rotating brush on the underside is now dual spinning and tangle minimizing as it sucks up hair. It's one of the most powerful robot vacuums on the market now too, while still being relatively quiet. And in adding all of these features, Dreame still kept everything that was great about the X40Ultra, like its swing out mopping arm and rotating brush, its awesome obstacle avoidance and mapping, and its self-sufficient mop pad cleaning. Now, the home base for the X50Ultra here, its power dock, still stores a lot of the essential things that make this setup seamless. For example, you've got your two large water tanks that take up most of what you see. One side is for clean water and one side is for dirty water. The dirty water is produced when the X50Ultra cleans its mop pads, more on that in a moment. And behind the front-facing panel, you'll see the vacuum bag, which fills with dust and debris that the vacuum collects thanks to its auto-emptying feature, and a smaller container that you'll fill with Dreame's provided cleaning solution. Again, sort of similar to the X40Ultra's dock, but some slight improvements to the placement and setup to make things easier to get to. The X50Ultra itself has some familiar features of its own, and pardon all the dust, this thing has obviously been putting in some work. There's the removable mop pads, of course, just as thick and plush as before. You can see here that new Hyperstream detangling duo brush, which after a few passes throughout my house at least, hasn't tangled up any hair, so mission accomplished so far. And I also noticed it leaving a much more apparent vacuum pattern on my carpet, which to me is a good thing. This new dual brush really seems to be getting deep within the carpet fibers. There's the classic rotating brush head there on the side, a couple smaller wheels, and then of course the new Pro Leap wheel setup, which combines the big navigation wheels we're familiar with that flip out secondary set of wheels to literally push the X50Ultra over obstacles, which is really cool to see. Under the hood, you have easy access to the vacuum's own dust bin and HEPA filter, but as soon as it arrives back to its power dock, like I said, it auto empties into the larger vacuum bag. And here's what that sounds like if you're curious. So one of the things I was most impressed with when I used the X40Ultra was Dreame's app coupled with the vacuum's mapping and navigation abilities. And it's the same story with the X50Ultra, but with a big added benefit. The vacuum's initial home mapping mode is unbelievably accurate. It identifies the rooms automatically, and it can even detect obstacles, like charging cables, for example, or shoes, which are automatically added to the map. The vacuum itself has a state-of-the-art system of sensors, an AI camera, and a bright LED light, very useful in my dark condo, obviously, which altogether not only allows for precise blind spot free mapping, but also stellar obstacle avoidance and really precise and specific movements. So there's no unnecessary spinning or navigating, and the vacuum itself can identify more than 200 different objects around it. The big add-on for the X50Ultra though, which I mentioned at the start, is its ability to raise and lower that DTOF sensor that sticks out the top of most high-end robot vacuums. It's called VersaLift, and it's actually going to scan what's in front of it, identify that it needs to lower the sensor down, and then clean normally and just as thoroughly before raising the sensor again. And with that retracted expected. It gains quite a bit more clearance. The vacuum winds up being a grand total of 89 millimeters tall, and then it can slide under even more stuff, like my bed, for example. What's especially nice about this is that the vacuum is smart enough to recognize that for my bed, it needs to lower the LiDAR sensor for just a moment to get underneath, and then it can raise it again while it's under there. But the vacuum can also just keep the LiDAR sensor lowered the entire time it's cleaning and still do multiple passes without missing a spot. And it can go under and around whatever it needs to, back and forth multiple times, continuing to raise and lower the LiDAR sensor as it needs. And this is awesome. So many other vacuums are hindered by that extra bit of height from the sensor module. On the flip side, the Pro Leap system lets you finally crawl up and over objects as needed. If you have a particularly high transition between floor types, for example, or rooms, or even like a half a step somewhere, it wouldn't be a problem. This is just one of those new features that's super practical. It makes a ton of sense, and it works surprisingly well. The way the Pro Leap system works is just by adding a threshold marker on your home map, and then the X50 Ultra will recognize it and do its thing. And for me in my home, these dining room chairs were always a problem with previous vacuums, but not anymore. The X50 Ultra sees them, raises itself up, and can leap over them while also cleaning between them. As a vacuum, most importantly, the X50 Ultra can achieve up to 20,000 pascals of suction power now with turbo force enabled. And for my home especially, I have a lot of fine dirt and sand that somehow blows in from the windows and door seams that I can see the X50 Ultra carving out of the carpet and sucking up. It can also tackle big crumbs, of course. It's solid on my tiled floor areas too. Doesn't kick around any of the crumbs. It actually sucks it up. And obviously, you don't need to use the max vacuum power every single time. You can switch between a few different cleaning modes as you start to regularly schedule your cleaning. The new Hyperstream Detangling Duo Brush, by the way, in my experience, also seems to be doing its job, namely avoiding getting hair or threads and strings tangled up within the rollers. Arguably, I don't have a ton of hair on my head, but my girlfriend does, and after quite a few passes, even in and out of the bathroom where hair tends to collect, there's not a hair clump or tangled knot in sight. Of course, the big benefit of Dreame's flagship robot vacuum is that it also doubles as a mop. I have tile in the kitchen, obviously, and in 3 different bathrooms, so there's enough for me to mop for sure. And most of the mopping features on the X50 Ultra are the same as what we saw on the X40 Ultra. Just as good, namely that swing out mop arm and extendable spinning brush arm, both of which help it get along the edges and underneath more spots, coupled with the retractable sensor module. Again, this is just a great combination, making sure you get all the way under and along the floor edges, for example. And don't worry, that's just ketchup on the floor, but in 2 passes, it mops it right up. And the mop mode is thorough, to say the least. My floors look wet and clean after a full pass, and you can adjust that wetness down to a more moist level, but it gets the job done for sure. The main improvement mop-wise is actually with the power dock's cleaning and drying. When the X50 Ultra is all done, it'll come back, drop the mop pads down, and the power dock will spin and thoroughly clean the mop pads to keep everything sanitary. This is the new Ace Clean dry board in action. It has a 20 spray system for better water distribution and less water stains left over after the fact, which just keeps everything a lot cleaner and more sanitary. The water, by the way, can heat up to 80 degrees Celsius now as it cleans, and then it'll automatically dry the mop pads as well. I thought this system was great on the X40 Ultra, and now it's even better on the X50 Ultra. I think for me personally, out of everything, in my own home, the biggest benefit on the X50 Ultra has been that auto-lowering sensor module, that VersaLift system. That's allowed this thing to get under so many more areas in my home, and it's probably the feature that I've been waiting for on all these robot vacuums. They all seem to be hindered by that thing sticking out of the top, so it's awesome that Dreame found a solution for that. I think collectively, all the other improvements to the X50 Ultra are great too, and it's safe to say that, in my opinion at least, this new X50 Ultra is the robot vacuum and mop combo to beat in 2025. But what do you guys think of the new X50 Ultra? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though, or at least found it helpful. Be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.